All eyes will be on South Carolina tomorrow when Democrats descend on the state for Congressman Jim Clyburn's world-famous fish fry.
World famous.
World famous. You hungry yet?
You think they're exaggerating about being world famous?
I mean, it's like the World Series, right?
That's
it's
true.
only played in America and Canada. 22 presidential candidates are expected to speak to voters there. South Carolina's primary is the fourth political contest in the nation, set for February 29, 2020.
The fish fry is in the city of Columbia. CBSN political reporter Caitlin Huey-Burns spoke to the mayor there yesterday about how the candidates can gain support.
I think obviously the first challenge is being present. We need folks to come here, be on the ground, and communicate with citizens. I mean, it's great to come and talk to me and the congressman and other elected officials, but really engaging with everyday citizens, talking about kitchen table issues. How do we create economic opportunity for every family across the state? And those issues are not gender specific or age specific or race specific. How can I get a fair shot to participate in the American experiment? I think people who have real ideas, candidates who have real ideas and can articulate those messages in a way that's inclusive will do well here.
Well, I spoke to Caitlin earlier on CBSN AM about the importance of tomorrow's event.
You're going to have 22 candidates here and 4,000 pounds of fish, we are told. But really, this is going to be a chance for candidates to show their ability to connect with voters here in South Carolina. The mayor told us that this is really going to be retail politics at its best. And that's really important because we've seen this campaign become kind of nationalized as voters try to assess all of these candidates, sometimes overwhelmed by the sheer number of people in this race, looking to kind of the national mood to help make their decision. But here in South Carolina, they're going to get a chance to really meet the candidates, see what they're all about, and kind of test them a little bit. This is really going to be an opportunity for voters and activists and even some lawmakers here to really see what these candidates are all about. Now, it's also going to be a challenge for the candidates because they're going to have about a minute and a half really to make their case on that stage. But what happens afterwards, after those speeches, during campaign events here throughout the weekend? The state party convention is also happening here in Columbia. This is really going to be a chance for these candidates to try and break through and try to make room for themselves in a race that's largely been dominated by Joe Biden.
Speaking of Joe Biden, no doubt the recent comments that he made at a fundraiser about working with segregationists is probably going to come up. He sort of clarified what he meant last night. I want to play some of that sound.
Could not have disagreed with Jim Eastland more. And he was a segregationist. I ran for the United States Senate because I disagreed with the views of the segregationists and many of them in the Senate at the time. As I led the Judiciary Committee, I was able to pass, what I was talking about was the Voting Rights Act. I was able to pass the Voting Rights Act when I was a young senator, when he was still the chairman. We voted against him and beat him in the Voting Rights Act. The point I'm making is you don't have to agree. You don't have to like the people in terms of their views, but you just simply make the case and you beat them.
So I read a report that indicated that Biden has told this story before. And when he told it before, it was slightly different. He said that Eastland would never call him senator. He would only call him son. Either way, Cory Booker, Bernie Sanders, they're both calling on Biden to apologize. He says he absolutely won't. What can we expect to happen tomorrow? Will this come up?
That's right. Biden definitely not backing down here, although he did kind of revise those remarks during another fundraiser last night. But here you see his rivals really with the knives out for Joe Biden, and particularly those who have made the issue of racial inequality centerpiece of their campaign. Cory Booker announced his presidential campaign at the start of Black History Month. So did Kamala Harris, really talking about those issues on the campaign trail. And that's critical here in South Carolina, where 60% of primary voters are likely to be African American voters. So we're also 1 week away from those critical debates. And this is a chance for these candidates who have been kind of lagging in the polls to really kind of sharpen their arguments against Joe Biden. I think this whole incident also shows the way in which Joe Biden is running a very traditional campaign and raising the questions about whether that campaign fits into this modern day Democratic Party. He said that he said these things before and hasn't really faced much pushback from it, but now he is in a different element. So I think that exposes some vulnerabilities of his campaign. I can also say that our battleground tracker, our CBS News battleground tracker out in South Carolina today shows Biden leading the pack, but it also shows voters are also interested in some of these other candidates. And what's really driving his support here as of now is his support among African American voters. He's leading with African Americans, but they also say 83% of them, which is most, say that his connection to President Obama, former President Obama, obviously he served as vice president, is the reason that they are inclined to support him. I can also say that spending time with Joe Biden out on the campaign trail recently, he constantly evokes his time with the former president, talking about that relationship and how they still are very close. So I would expect him to try to play that up again here. Of course, Barack Obama won South Carolina in 2008, that primary, and that helped kind of catapult the rest of his election.
I also wondered whether or not it was wise to sort of mimic a Southern accent when you're trying to win over Southern voters. But hey, I'm not a campaign advisor. Caitlin, thank you very much.